One man down this episode. Oh, it's just the three of us.
Just the three amigos.
We need the Rock, the Will Rock back. Yeah.
We do, yeah, the Rock. Yeah,
That's right.
Painted orange. Man, episode 12. We've been doing this for actually over 3 months now because we skipped a week last week.
We skipped a week, man.
We did.
That's true. That's
we were
right.
all over the place. Chase, where were you?
I was in Paradise, also known as Guam. Tons of stories. Guam is probably the best place on earth.
Yep.
We'll jump into that a little bit
true.
later. But
It's true.
Reed did not lie. He had a great time on Guam last year, and I had a better time, I think. So it was fun.
Well, the jiu-jitsu looked fun, but I gotta say, man, the Instagram story just that entire week, it was like a tourist commercial for just like jiu-jitsu paradise.
You guys got to go. So I want to give a huge shout out to everyone on Guam because literally I feel like I met like everyone on Guam.
I know,
But Steve Shimizu, Lloyd Kudakub.
All 30 people there?
Yeah, there was a
pretty
whole
small,
gang
right?
of people that really made the entire event possible. They took all the athletes around every night, put us in an amazing hotel, the Nika Hotel on Guam, and it was just, from start to finish, Guam was the coolest thing I've ever seen. And if you're an athlete, you need to go to that event. You need to get on there somehow. So reach out. Mariana's open. You guys gotta go.
Yeah.
So you hated it.
Yeah.
You had the worst time.
I'm gonna go back just on my own. So
Oh, nice.
yeah.
I hope, man.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed,
Absolutely.
right?
I got to watch some of the matches there. I was catching up on that. Now I've been back in the office this week, and I was watching some of the matches from the event. Man, it was good. There was
Felipe Pena and Azaki Bahayans, man, they just ran through it. They did an amazing job. Jackson Souza had an amazing performance against Muhammad Ali. If you have not seen that match, incredible stand-up war, not a moment wasted. Both guys going at it. Mariana shortened the match time to 6 minutes from 10.
Oh, I like
so
that.
it really pushed the pace, and
Nice.
Guys were really getting after it.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
Awesome.
really fun
And it's
stuff.
interesting that Isaac and Felipe Pena, they're both defending champions, right?
Yeah.
They came back and they did it again.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, it's true. They fought last year, though. I
They
want to see.
did,
I want
they
to see
did.
that again.
There was no
But-
absolute this time. They
Right.
split it up, but really, really great time.
Man, that's awesome. I actually spoke to a bunch of the guys who were there in Guam with you because I was in Abu Dhabi. And a bunch of the guys who competed at the Marianas Open, they flew straight there, which is, man, that's quite a schedule right there, pretty hectic. But I think it was Renato Canuto, Tanner Rice, obviously Felipe and Isaac as well. And they were all just saying such great things about it, man. They were saying, oh, that place rocks.
Man, I was super impressed with Tanner Rice because not only did he put up a fight, with Felipe Pena that was incredible.
match, yeah.
He was still cutting weight for King of Mats and World Pro.
Whoa.
He still
Then
had.
he ended up going up a weight, didn't he?
He did.
He
did,
did,
yeah.
he did find a spot in the higher weight class. I think
that's
someone
right.
pulled out, and so he took
pulled
that
out, yep.
gladly. But he still, in his mind, on the day of competition, knew he had to lose like 10 pounds still.
Oh, wow, that's
So
rough.
that is tough.
Yeah,
especially
we
the
gotta
food
we
had.
gotta bring the whole crew. The whole FloGrappling crew's got to go to Guam next
think
year.
so.
I think
Yeah.
we gotta make some crazy stuff.
Make it happen. Man, God, that all-you-can-eat fresh sushi as well, huh?
Yeah, we took a boat out, had fresh sushi. I mean, it was you hear about the jiu-jitsu lifestyle, and sometimes you don't know what that means. I felt like I was in jiu-jitsu lifestyle heaven.
Yeah, you
Guam,
lived
so-
it, right? But I feel like the big story there was this whole last week was Felipe Pena, man. I'm just like, that guy, what a killer.
Incredible.
Making some money, getting some belts, and made it look easy. He really does. Like,
Well, him
he's,
and Isaac, actually, they had an incredible time. So they were in Kazakhstan one weekend, then they fly to Guam to compete again, and then they fly to Abu Dhabi the following week to compete one more time. The amount of money that they made in those couple of weekends, I can't even imagine. So I believe, let me see, so they got 10 grand for winning Guam in Marianas Open?
Yes.
Yeah, they got 10 grand each. Then they fly to Abu Dhabi and they pick up 15 grand each for winning the black belt divisions there as well. That's 25 grand in 2 weekends, 7 days of work, man. That's incredible. And
Yeah.
people say there's no money in jiu-jitsu.
that's true. Yeah, but
You got to be at the top, but man, if you are, things are looking pretty good.
Yeah, it is. And that's an argument that I hear quite a lot, actually, is that, oh, these guys still aren't getting paid what they deserve and stuff. You know, the amount that they pay and they invest in their careers, they're still not getting back that much. But hey, you know, it has to start somewhere, right?
Yeah, especially I think Felipe and Isaac, they're very young in the sport. I mean, especially Isaac, he's a very new black belt, right? So I think we've always been accustomed to like the stars of the sport, guys like Andre, Galvao, and things like that, making money in the sport. But here you have two younger black belts. I know Felipe's been around for a few years, certainly, but especially Isaac is a very young black belt, and they're going in and making money. So that's cool.
Yeah, it is. It's really cool. And, you know, especially for a guy like Isaac as well, you know, he comes from what they call humble beginnings in Brazil, right? Which basically means he comes from the hood, you know, and like way out there in one of the worst areas of Rio de Janeiro as well. Far, far from the kind of the postcard scenery and stuff, you know. And for a kid like that, I mean, that's like incredible, life-changing stuff. And he was telling me that, you know, he's obviously investing back into his career, but, you know, some of it's going to go to help his family out as well.
But so Chase was in Guam, and you, of course, were in Abu Dhabi. We didn't make the trip this time, right? But I know you were obviously there. We followed along. King of Mats was going down. That happened first. What was I don't know, what stood out to you the most, do you think, from the King of Mats experience?
Well, first of all, this is my 3rd year in Abu Dhabi running, right?
Yeah.
And like, I thought that I kind of knew what to expect, but UAE JJF came with this new initiative, the King of Mats, and it really surprised me because, you know, we found out about it not too long ago, and they're saying like, oh, we're going to invite all these big names, and we're going to get like, you know, have a round robin, and, you know, I was like, man, this is like completely different, you know? This is something we've seen on like Super Fight Pro shows and stuff, but to do this at like a major tournament like this was a kind of disruptive, right? And the way that it played out was just incredible. Like they had the 3 mats, they stopped the entire tournament, they had the 3 mats running, and they had the 3 divisions, and it was lightweight, middleweight, heavyweight running at the same time. And it was just these 6-minute matches, high pace, running back and forth. And it was like, oh my God, building through to these finals. And I think what shocked me the most was probably how much I really, really enjoyed it and how much I really want to see more. Because I felt like it was the precursor to what could be an amazing new thing in jiu-jitsu.
The format specifically?
The format, the idea that they want to make this like a traveling show. Apparently, that's the kind of the tentative plans, is they want to take King of Mats on the road. They're going to have a circuit, and they're going to run it like over the year with multiple events in different locations around the world. And it's just like, wow, like another high-level event with all these amazing black belts going at it. It could be amazing.
I mean, what's really cool about King of Mats, too, is the 3 weight classes. I love that because you see matchups that you would never get. You have stuff like Jamie Canuto versus Andre Galvao.
Yep.
Renato versus Clark Gracie.
Exactly. You know, it really, really opens the field up. Combine that with round robin, and you just have a mix of amazing matches.
Yeah, the round robin thing as well. It's not perfect. They still need to iron out some creases. Like there's a few things like in the rules and the regulations. So they don't remember Coppa Podio, the Grand Prix, the round robin. That for every match that you win, that you would accumulate points, right? Just like Kazai run the same thing, right?
Sure.
It's like, you know, let's say 4 points for submission, 3 points for draw, 3 points for points, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So they didn't do that at King of Mats. It was a different criteria. They basically totaled up how many wins you had. And then, like, if you had equal number of wins to somebody else, well, it was, how many matches did you win by submission? Then if that was equal, it was how many matches did you win by points? And did you win more points than that other guy? And it was like this descending list of criteria. And for me, that made it really complicated. And I was just thinking, well, just have it, like, points for how you win the match.
Yeah.
Because then there's no, like, oh, well, that guy, you know, he won this match by an advantage, so he deserves to go through over me. It's like, no, just make it simpler.
Yeah.
So that was the only thing I didn't like about the round robin. And unfortunately, the same kind of like problem with the round robin rules came up during the country qualifiers later in the week when Beatriz Mesquita, who is like I think she's a 5-time World Pro champion, and, you know, she was pretty hot pick to go through and to do it again this year. Well, she didn't get out of the round robin. And what happened was it was her, Luisa Montero, Bianca Basilio, and Nadia Mello. So Beatriz goes out, she submits Bianca. She loses to Luisa by advantage, but then Nadia Mello, who had already fought Luisa and Bianca, pulled out. So what happened was when you accumulated all the wins and stuff, Luisa and Bianca had one more match on their resume than Beatriz. And
That's
it's like,
too bad.
yeah,
It's
so
mathematically impossible.
exactly.
Yeah,
There's no
yeah.
comeback. She can't win. So what happened, I remember in Coppa Podio, if a guy had pulled out of the round robin for whatever reason, say he was hurt, or
Yeah.
he's like, man, I lost all my matches, there's no point going back out, they would just strike off his match against all those other people. So you'd imagine that they competed, but it was just they would accumulate the scores of a round robin.
If
one match
everybody
shorter.
doesn't face this guy, then nobody faced him.
Exactly.
Evens the playing field.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Man, what I was most surprised about King of Mats, though, is there were so many upsets. I felt like
Yeah,
I
there
felt like
were.
it was like every match basically was like an upset. I felt like I was like, whoa.
Well, let's talk about the biggest one. I mean, Andre Galvão not making it out of the round robin, right? That was huge.
Yeah.
And then Charles Negromonte going on to win the middleweight. Everybody knows Charles is tough, right? He's super tough. But this is by far the biggest win of his career. And, you know, World Pro, King of Mats, going up against guys like Renato, like Jamie, like Andre Galvão, that's a big deal right there, right? So that was a breakout performance for me, I think.
I think Negromonte really excels in the 6-minute matches because he's got that really tough grinding game. He does not pull guard. He wants to play on the feet, and he can hold that pressure and pace easily for 6 minutes.
Yeah, he's rock solid.
Whereas
man.
in 10 minutes, maybe someone's forced to do something, you know, where he's forced to pull guard, puts himself in a less advantageous position. 6 minutes, he can maintain the whole time, and it really shows.
Yeah, I think Negromonte's top pressure is pretty notorious. We hear about it a
Yeah,
lot.
I mean,
so.
he trains with Roger Gracie. You know, he's built like a tank as well. That guy's top game must be horrific, right? But I mean, he went out there and he played really well. You know, very strategic, very smart, and came away with a pretty nice chunk of change as well. So
Huge weekend for Alexander Trans, who we hadn't really seen for a while.
man, and this is actually one of the biggest stories out of King of Mats for
You
me.
think so? Yeah.
So he submitted Roberto Cyborg in the final, which is incredible. You know, like just an amazing achievement. And I followed Trans like straight off the mat, and I followed him backstage. And I've known Trans a few years now. You know, we're pretty cool. But I was, you know, I was just kind of watching. I was like leaving a little bit of distance because I don't want to bother him like the moment he comes off the mat. Right? I was kind of thinking, I'll let him get back to the warm-up area, and then, man, he came back and he just sat down and just all came out. The emotions, just bawling. Now, you know, he's a pretty big, like, Viking dude from Denmark and Scandinavian.
Menacing looking,
yeah, you know, he's a lovely guy. But the Scandinavians, they keep them, you know, they kind of a little bit. Let's say they closed off, shall we say. No, man, that just floodgates opened, and he was crying his eyes out. And we spoke later, and he's like, man, you have no idea. He's like, he showed me his knee, and his knee is kind of like that, right? It's just, he doesn't
I don't know
have
what that is. It doesn't look good, though.
No.
His knee looks like a.
Well, imagine doing that with your leg. It shouldn't happen, right? So yeah, apparently he doesn't have a PCL right now. It's like his knee is completely shot, and he's gonna, you know, immediately now go back to Brazil because he lives there, and you know, he's gonna get some surgery. And he did that entire tournament with one leg, and beat guys like Cyborg in the final. I mean, that's incredible, right?
Yeah, it was awesome to see him out there.
That's why we haven't seen him.
Yeah, we hadn't seen him in a while, so
Yeah.
to go out there and get such a big win, I thought was my pick for a submission of the tournament. There was Trans over Cyborg. That was a very impressive one.
Which people can do, right? They can vote, and we've got it on our site. So we've got the best 5 matches and the best 5 submissions, and the voting closes tonight. And we're asking people to actually go on there and to cast their vote, because the UAE JGF will award $5,000 to the best submission of the King of Mats tournament and the best match.
So I should keep my mouth shut. I shouldn't tell who I voted.
You can stay it out there. I mean, like,
Just
personally,
one vote?
I'm gonna just one vote among many. I'm personally for the best submission. I'm voting for Renato Canuto. I don't know if you guys saw that one. That was incredible.
That was my vote too. Man, it is next level. He taps Clark Gracie with essentially a flying armbar, but it's just not. It's not what you expect. If
It
you
is
haven't seen
not
it,
what
yeah.
you expect.
Renato
In
Canuto
fact-
is just straight must-see TV.
Oh, yeah.
Anytime Renato Canuto is on the mats, I am beelining to the mat.
We're gonna jump to a clip real quick. Actually, we're gonna play the best submissions of the King of Mats. So we good to go. You're not seeing it, right? Okay, let's do a little technical issues. Let me try and jiggle my cable. See if that. does
But
anything.
Renato was there in Guam last year
Renato-
when I was there too. I got to know Renato, and he hit a couple flying submissions in Guam too last year. And
I was watching his match from the most recent Marianas Open against Servio Tullio, and he hits this beautiful, like, jumping cartwheel guard pass from seated guard straight to the back. I think he tried to do a similar thing against Eddie Cummings. Man, it's just, the guy's so acrobatic. It's so
dynamic.
good watching him.
Yeah.
You know what was fun to
Nope.
see was
All right, no clips. Boo.
it's
Not
fun to see
today.
Renato and
Tonight.
You can visualize it.
Yeah, the Renato submission of Clark Gracie was
Yeah.
amazing. It was kind of like he was passing in the like the leg drag position, and then he kind of grabs the sleeve, and then he just yanks it up straight into the armbar. And it was exactly the same thing if you remember a few years ago that Rafa Mendes did to Cobrinha in the final of the Worlds. But you know, you don't see Clark Gracie get tapped out very often, right? So that was pretty cool.
It was a quick one too. He finished it. He finished it very quick.
Man, I got to roll with Hanato in Guam, and you know, he
Nice.
was doing a lot of his acrobatic techniques, a lot of flying submissions, and what blew me away was just how tight those flying submissions were. I mean,
Really?
sometimes, you know, I mess around, try one or two, and there's always an adjustment for me. Like, I don't just lock it on. It is tight in the air. Before he lands, I'm like, oh my God, I need to tap. He just clamps his hips. I don't know what he's doing, but he's got it down to a science for sure.
All right, we've got the clips up and running now, so we're gonna run this.
We've got the clips.
Good to go?
We have the power.
All right, here we go. So this is the best submissions from the King of Mats. And number one, that was your pick, Reed, right?
Yep, this
Trans
was.
versus Cyborg.
You were saying Cyborg injured his hip in this match.
Exactly that moment right there you saw right at the beginning. Apparently he kind of like, when he swept him, he yanked it.
And here's the one you guys were talking about.
Yeah, so Hanato doing what Hanato does, and there it is. Watch that. Controlled sleeve, lifts him up, boom.
And it's tight. Look at that.
Yeah,
Taps
quick.
immediately.
Tight, man.
It's a quick one. That is a sweet one.
And Cyborg, hey, you know, let's not forget that he actually had a great run to get to the finals as well. He himself had some great performances earlier on, and he ran up so many points in this match before getting the submission.
Roberto Satoshi's another fan favorite, personal favorite of mine.
Yep.
Look at this. Just so quick at the
That was
triangle.
beautiful. You notice that
triangle.
lapel that he was using as well to kind of like control the arm? You've been playing with that a bit recently.
I like the
Chase, right?
lapel game.
Yeah. And then beautiful knee bar in the round robin in the lightweight division. Samuel Cancarino tapping out Iago George.
Nice angle right there. I like that.
Yeah. So, you know, all in all, there was plenty of excitement. There was plenty of action in the King of Mats. And, you know.
Definitely going to Abu Dhabi and watching the World Pro, it's a very unique experience.
stadium
You
was
know,
just-
going to the stadium,
Yeah.
the people there, you know, the culture of watching jiu-jitsu is certainly a little different over there. So that's definitely, you're talking about, if you're a jiu-jitsu fan, you need to go to Guam. Well, I feel like you also kind of need to go to Abu Dhabi at least once
Man,
too.
as a jiu-jitsu fan, I also would add to that, if you're a jiu-jitsu competitor, whether it's a blue, purple, brown, or black belt, and you don't have it on your list of things to do to go to Abu Dhabi and compete at World Pro, then you played yourself.
Yeah.
Because it is such a good opportunity to go there, to experience a professional level tournament unlike anything else in the world. And you win, you get paid, right? Gabriel Souza, for example, from ZR Team, brown belt. He won his division, and he got second place in the international ranking in the brown belt division, right? Man, he pulled 11 grand that weekend. He got 6 grand for winning his division, and then he got 5 grand for the second place in the ranking.
It's not bad.
He's a freaking brown belt.
Not bad.
You
Well,
know?
what I like most about it is that there's an avenue to get to these places too. You know, like if you go and win win gold at a couple of these Grand Slam events, you know, there's an avenue for them to pay for your flight and over to compete. And like, what's better than that?
But you don't have to either. If you just want to go to Abu Dhabi, it is an open
can just
tournament.
sign
You
up,
can register and compete. So it's got a great mix of everything, really.
It does. It's great. There was one other issue from World Pro that came up, and this was a little bit more controversial. We were talking about this earlier. So, you know, leg locks, so hot right now in jiu-jitsu, right? And we see a lot more people playing them. And it's kind of interesting, right? Because leg locks, I think, were always thought more of a no-gi thing.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, right? It's like kind of more of a no-gi thing, especially we see tournaments like EBI, like Kazai, and the many super fights. So ADCC is one of the best examples,
Fight to Win.
right? Fight to Win. So many tournaments that have, like, you know, great examples of leg locks taking place. But let's not forget that leg locks can actually happen in the gi as well, right? I mean, we've seen some good ones, right? In the Urba Santos with his amazing knee bar.
That one comes to mind immediately. Definitely, that was a badass one.
So, you know, there are good leg lockers
And
out.
especially the straight ankle lock too. You see that one all the time in the gi. Yeah.
And the straight ankle lock, right? So people complain
Mikey
about...
Musameshi is great at that one.
Oh,
Remember last year he hit the
fastest
fastest
pants,
submission
yeah.
in the pants? Yeah. And remember when we were in Rio last November and we were training with Caio Terra?
Yes.
And he showed us the hips in thing from the Achilles lock. Remember that?
Yep.
And that's actually kind of exactly what Mikey does to finish his ankle locks so quickly. And he just blasts it on. So a very similar thing happened at the World Pro when Luisa Monteiro fought Bianca Basilio in the round robin country qualifier for the Brazilian under 62 kilogram division, okay? So basically, the way it works at World Pro, you're only allowed 2 people per nationality in the main bracket. So we already had one. She qualified. It was Larissa Pais. And then, like, all the others had to fight for that second spot amongst themselves in, like, a little tournament before the main tournament. So you had Bianca Basilio, Beatriz, et cetera, So Louisa and Bianca went up against each other. And there was a little problem.
Same team, right? Same Atos.
Both Atos. Don't train together, but it's still under the greater Atos banner. They closed out at Pans just not recently, right?
Exactly.
So they ended up fighting. And of course, you know, World Pro doesn't allow closeouts. I don't think anybody anticipated that this would actually happen in the final. So, yep, all right, let's play.
But this is off of a straight ankle lock attempt right here, right?
This is off a straight ankle lock. All right, gonna
Not
play.
quite an attempt, I'd say.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Playing. There we go. All right. So we put this up on the site earlier, and as you can see, Bianca is hunting for this footlock, and well, just like it says, watch and see for yourself. Look at that.
Now this reminds me
that
of Jamil Hill versus Queixinho at Pans last year. I don't know if you remember that match. It was the semifinals. Very similar thing, only Shane Jamil Hill got disqualified, he being the footlocker.
Well, we put this clip up on our Instagram, and it had like over 170 comments.
Well, can you explain like what's controversial about it, I guess?
Right, so if you're attacking a straight ankle lock, and I'm just going to pause it right here. If you're attacking a straight ankle lock, now, you are not allowed to turn inwards, meaning you're not allowed to turn towards the direction of the free leg to finish the ankle lock.
You can turn the other way.
You're only allowed to turn to the outside because what the rule is, it's considered that they don't want you placing pressure on the knee by turning inward. So if you go outwards, then the knee will naturally bend and you know you can still attack the ankle, but it's the same thing as considered a reap. So notice that her foot goes on the hip, all right? The foot doesn't pass across, which is the reaping rule that everybody freaks out around, right? But then if you notice what she does is she puts her hips in straight here. So foot goes on the hip, bang, foot goes in, the hips go in straight.
Uncomfortable right there.
So she's not actively rolling to her right side, but what happens is there. Now, Louisa kind of lifts up as she falls to the right. And then you can see that is the point when she does start rolling and Bianca continues to roll, goes belly down, finishes it. Now, I have to mention this as well, that Louisa was taken off in a wheelchair. Like,
really?
She really jacked her ankle.
And there's a little bit of gray area there, right? Because if Louisa initiates the roll, then it's not technically illegal, right?
Exactly,
If Louisa voluntarily goes that way,
and if Bianca just follows.
Then it's technically not illegal. But if Bianca forces her to go that way, if she initiates the roll, that's what's illegal.
It's almost harder to tell in slow motion there too, because you can't really see the momentum as well.
Yeah.
It's true. I mean, the slow motion kind of, it doesn't actually clarify it, and it happens so fast. So, I mean, obviously we don't want to see anybody injured. We feel really bad for Louisa. I know that she's super upset about it as well, and she feels that it was an illegal move.
Illegal?
She does. Bianca, on the other hand, feels obviously that I didn't roll. I just put my hips in and stuff, you know. She feels bad about hurting her. Nobody wanted that to happen. But it just goes to prove, though, that leg locks in the gi can be as effective as the heel hooks and the twisting leg locks.
That was nasty.
Right?
That was
it's interesting grip.
Legal or not.
Interesting grip too there. She didn't lock her hands. She just had the lapel grip there. Just
and she was using in her free hand. She was actually controlling the pant leg to stop Louisa from pulling the leg out. So really interesting. And actually that's the thing that Almeida Jiu-Jitsu, those guys do really well. They have a really nasty straight ankle lock. Caio Almeida, who's one of the two Almeida brothers of Almeida Jiu-Jitsu and one of the coaches to Bianca, he tapped out Roberto Satoshi in like 20 seconds at the 2016 World Championships with exactly that move.
Okay, yeah, I remember that first round.
Because remember, we were at Worlds and we were like, man, where's Satoshi? Like, we thought that he was here.
Just saw him,
and actually, no, he just like lost in 20 seconds and disappeared. We were like,
first round.
Wow. Yep. So there you go. Leg locks in the gi to be equally respected, right?
And also always effective in no gi, as we know, because Tom DeBlas, Fight to Win Pro 72.
There you go.
Finished his match in 30 seconds, just like that, man. He's got a game plan down, and it was something to watch. If you guys have not seen that Tom DeBlas clip of his quick submission at Fight to Win Pro, you should check it out.
Yeah, that was great, man. I love seeing guys come out like hungry after that submission, you know. And Tom, we've talked about it. He's a great competitor. He loves getting out there in the mix, but sometimes I feel like he almost loves getting those knockdown, drag out matches because he's having so much fun. You know, he's just there, like, but in the middle of this war. But it was nice to see him just go out there and go, all right, take care of business.
Yeah,
right?
that was clinical, surgical. By
Yeah,
Tom's
definitely
part.
one of my favorite main event fight to wins that I can remember in a while. Like you said, just to see somebody go like Tom go out there and just take the submission, like that was badass.
Pretty awesome. And so this weekend, got a couple of big events coming up. We have Fight to Win in Chicago, Bill Cooper, right?
Bill Cooper's back on the card again. He's taking on Chicago local Mark Vives. Mark is a savage, by the way. He's been on Fight to Win 4 times now, I believe. And he just has a wicked closed armbar. I mean, armbar from close guard. And it comes on quick. He moves really well. Everyone knows Bill Cooper. He's a showman. He loves it. He loves to have a good time on the mat. He took Wagner Rocha the distance last time on Fight to Win.
Almost the distance, right?
Oh, he did get tapped in the last few seconds. That's
Yeah,
right. It was
tapped.
1 or 2 seconds left.
Tapped her in the last
I
few
forgot. Yeah, Wagner's an animal.
Yeah.
But Bill's always looking to put on a good time. So I'm very excited for Fight to Win Pro 73 that's taking place in Chicago this Saturday.
Nah, that'll be a lot of fun.
And you're about to get on a plane, right? You just
we
got
all
you got
are.
off a plane,
Yeah.
and now you're about to get back on a plane.
I
and
am, yeah. So
go to a completely different part of the hemisphere, part of this world.
Man, try not to think about it, but it's going to be awesome because Will and I got back from Abu Dhabi on Tuesday, and Abu Dhabi was great. I gotta say, like 3 years running, and I was a little bit, nervous about going there again because it's just such a big tournament, a tough week. But we had great fun, amazing jiu-jitsu, such an incredible tournament. And then coming straight back to Austin, arrive on Tuesday. So tomorrow afternoon, Friday, Will and I are flying to Sao Paulo, Brazil. And we're going to go there for the Brazilian Nationals, the brown and black belt Saturday, Sunday, and of course the black belt absolute as well. So I'm super excited because I was at the Brazilian Nationals last year, and I got to say it was crazy. Because remember, that was when there was the race for the ranking with Leandro and Herbert, and at Brasileiros they fought twice in the same day. It was insane.
It's your old stomping grounds, right? Are you excited to go back?
Yeah. I mean, I lived in Brazil for like almost 7 years, so I'm pretty excited about going back. This is part of our greater Road to Worlds trip. We'll talk about it in a bit, but we're gonna go and hit up a few different cities. So I'm really looking forward to it. But to be honest, I'm really looking forward to Brasileiros for a number of different reasons. Number one, no Leandro, no Herbert. Now that leaves the door wide open for the absolute title, right? And that's the big question is like, well, who's going to win it this year? And man, I honestly can't say because there's like a bunch of wild cards. There's a bunch of really tough
there's
guys.
like 500 black belts signed up,
Yeah,
right?
it's
There's
so
like
big.
a Brazilian Nationals has just the most black belts out of any tournament there. So it's like, who knows?
The story for me, return of Nicholas Marigali. We haven't seen him.
We have not
since
seen him.
winning Worlds last year.
We're big
and,
fans of Nicholas Marigali.
He's just one of my favorite to watch. So I cannot wait to see what he does, and that of course sets up his performance at Worlds.
Yeah,
A
this
whole
is
year of not competing and just improving, just in the gym. Like, yeah, you're right. It'll be interesting.
And we're not really sure even what he's been doing in that time. Like, we have a feeling that he maybe did some kind of surgery because a lot of his posting is about like recuperation and physical therapy and stuff. So maybe he addressed something after Worlds. That's why we haven't seen him for so long. But it's just a huge question mark. Like, seriously, who knows?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's going to be huge. And Brazilian Nationals is the last major tournament before Worlds as well. So it's so important in defining how things are going to, look when it comes to the biggest tournament of the year, at the end of May. So very much looking forward to that one.
Yep.
And Americans are going there as well this year as well, which is a little bit different because, we don't often see that many foreigners at the Brazilian Nationals. And to be honest, for a non-Brazilian to win Brazilian Nationals, it is a big deal. You can count on one hand the amount of people who have actually done that, I believe.
I think for Americans, it's just BJ Penn and Lovato.
At black belt, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Some couple have done it at brown, but at black belt, it's an incredibly difficult feat.
I know Lovato's the only American to have ever won the absolute division, but I'm not sure beyond that.
Yeah.
And then there was a guy, I forget his name, I was looking at this recently, from Australia, I believe, that won at black belt.
No way.
2011.
Australia,
Ultra
huh?
heavyweight or something.
What?
Yeah.
Oh man, I have to go back and check that out.
It's a thing. Look into it.
But there are a couple of Americans going down this weekend. Two notables, and both from New York. We got Gianni Grippo, who's going to be signing up for the black belt featherweight. Coming off second place at the King of Mats and second place at the Abu Dhabi World Pro.
First place at Pans.
Just a machine, man. Doesn't stop.
He doesn't stop.
Badass,
That guy's got no chill. He's just like constantly on the go. And Devontae Johnson as well, the brown belt, the super heavyweight, who we're also big fans of. He's going to go down and compete in Brazil for the first time. And he was telling me he's super pumped.
Nice.
For that.
We
It's gotta be a
know
fun event for him,
Devontae can get pumped.
Yeah.
So I wish I was there to see that.
Man, you need to be for Brasileiros because that tournament is just something else. Like, I have literally never been to a louder jiu-jitsu tournament.
Do they chant the uva? Yeah.
Hell yeah. I mean, like, when it came down to, like, finals, you know, you kind of, like, the 12 mats, and you got the one mat down in the corner, which is the one where they have all the black belt finals, and everybody just piles down to that corner of the arena, and it's a big, like, oval-shaped arena. And just, I remember, wow, it was just deafening in there, especially with Leandro and Herbert. But there's no shortage of local guys as well, you know, because like Sao Paulo is a real hotspot for jiu-jitsu. I would say, to be honest, it's probably the city with the highest concentration of high-level black belts in Brazil now is Sao Paulo. And it always used to be Rio.
Yeah, not
like,
Rio.
Yeah, back in the day. But Sao Paulo now is just like, you've got Cicero Costa's gym, you've got Alliance HQ, you've got Almeida Jiu-Jitsu, you've got Leandro Lo's Brotherhood, you've got Herbert's team, you've got Guigo, you know, you got all these major academies right there in one city. So,
Are you going to stop by Esquadra?
I don't know exactly where we're going. We're going to hit up a bunch of gyms, but
Yeah.
it's kind of, you know what, our planning is very Brazilian at this stage. We're just going to figure it out. 'Cause
Let's jump into it. What are we talking about here? I think Road to Worlds is on all of our minds, and we should let the public know what we're going to do.
Yeah, man, we haven't talked about it yet. We haven't announced it yet, so I think this will serve as sort of an official announcement here, right? Obviously, last year we did the Road to Worlds. Chase and I, we did a fun little road trip where we went to Lucas Lepri's in Charlotte, North Carolina, and we went to Soul Fighters in Dallas, and
Gustavo Dantes in Arizona.
we had a fun little road trip, and boom, we're doing it again because the World Championships is coming up at the end of the month here, May 30th. So all of us, all four of us, are going to be hitting the road.
But this time, we're going international,
This
baby.
time we're going international.
Overseas.
Yeah, we're spreading things out a little bit more here.
So Hal and Will be going to Brazil.
Yep, we're hitting up Sao Paulo, obviously. We're going to stick around after the Brazilian Nationals for a couple of days. And like I said, we're still figuring out exactly where we're going to go because it's spoiled for choice. We are going to go to Porto Alegre down in the south of Brazil, which is where Marigali trains with Mario Hayes' team down there in the south. That's going to be interesting. And then we're going to finish up in Rio, and we're going to hit up GF Team. And
Oh, man, that's going to be great.
Killers up there. So.
Yeah, that's the three huge gyms right there. That a lot of updates. Can't miss that. And then of course,
while we're on the road, where are you guys going to be?
Well, we start our journey in New York on Monday. We're going to, of course, see all the big gyms there. Marcelo Garcia, Unity, maybe someone else, maybe JT Torres. We'll see what happens there. But then the real fun begins because we're going to Dublin.
we're going to Ireland, baby.
That's
we're going to
cool.
Ireland.
We're going to
I like
Ireland.
I like that.
We're
And
going
who are we going to hang out with in Ireland?
We're going to hang out with Dara in Ireland. Dara O'Connell, of course, he's a Hibero Jiu-Jitsu guy and one of the biggest, owns one of the biggest gyms, East Coast Jiu-Jitsu Academy in Dublin, Ireland. And it's actually the Irish Open is happening when we're going to be there as well. The biggest tournament in Ireland, so we're going to be covering that a little bit
It's
as
not
well.
an
Awesome,
IBJJF
man.
event. It's
Not an
a,
IBJJF event.
I guess you call it a private event. And the winners do get a paid trip, I believe, to Europeans.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so there's a lot on the line. These guys are going to go hard
Yep.
chasing that.
Man, they send quite a lot of competitors to Europeans as well, right? We always see a big Irish contingent there.
Yeah,
so.
I think Ireland brought like 150 competitors or
We got to
something.
find that graphic we did.
Yeah, we got. I have it. I think they brought like 150 competitors, and Dara brought like 65 of that, like almost half of.
Almost half of just his students.
Yeah, just his students.
That's amazing.
So we're gonna be hanging out with Conor McGregor probably.
Sure.
Look for that exclusive. Yeah, John, if you're watching, set it up.
Let's get Dylan. Reach out to Dylan.
Yeah, we
to
gotta
hook
get
us up,
Dylan to hook it up, right? Yeah.
And, from Ireland, we're hopping over to Norway, which is going to be another really cool part of the trip. hang out with the Vikings. That's Espen Mathiesen. Also just won at
We didn't
World
talk
Pro.
about Espen, but another guy who I think impressed
World
all
Pro
of us.
champion, yeah. He was
Yeah.
the only non-Brazilian champion in the male divisions, actually.
Wow.
Amal Amjahid from Belgium, who is just an absolute firecracker, and I urge you to go
Yeah.
and watch her matches because she's a killer. She won double gold at Europeans as well, remember? And just
She's
she
a
loves that
monster.
overhead
She is a
sweep,
monster,
and she's
yeah.
just such a
And
finisher.
she's so small, and she goes out there, wins the absolute divisions, and
So
like,
cool. Yeah.
Incredible. Well, she was a non-Brazilian champion in the women's divisions, but then to have Espen go out there and rep Norway in the World Pro, first time Scandinavians ever won like the World Pro title, I believe.
Yeah, this what these guys are doing, I think, is just completely unprecedented. Obviously, one of the reasons why we're going
I want to
there.
see what they're up to, right?
Man, it's just insane how these guys, Tommy Longacher, another guy in there, Espen, Vegard, they're just on the west coast of Norway. There's really not, from what I
way out
understand,
there,
there's
man.
not much over there, except a room with some mats, and these guys are just killers. They're coming out of this room, and Tommy placed third.
Tapped Erberth.
at Europeans, and of course he had a great performance as well at Pans. And Espen won World Pro. Like there's something in the water in this town.
I want to drink
it in Norway, and we're gonna go find out what it is because those guys have been killing it. So
Man, I'm super jealous. I went to Norway a couple of years ago,
That's
right?
right.
So that's the very first time that I met the Vikings, as we now call them, and I just got a very brief taste of what it was like there. And man, it is far from the idea that we have of the jiu-jitsu lifestyle. You know what I mean?
and we
It's
got
like-
we got a few other spots. Like I said, we're playing.
We're also mobile here.
We're also playing a little
by
on
ear.
the Brazilian time as well. We got a few other spots we're going to try to hit up, and of course we're going to convene in California the week
all
before.
roads lead to California.
All roads
right?
lead to California for the IBJJF World Championships. Certainly my most exciting time of the year. Such a very exciting time. The World Championships. There's no tournament like it, and I can't wait to get on the road and.
And man,
check
the
it out.
funny thing is that even in Abu Dhabi, I was talking to various people and stuff, and a bunch of them came up to me and they asked us, it's like, hey, are you guys going to do Road to Worlds again this year?
Oh, I love it.
Sweet.
Yeah, so you know what? Let's just make sure people know that they're aware, right? That they'll be able to follow this entire thing because we'll be putting up stuff as close to real time as possible. And they'll be able to follow on all our social channels and stuff, but we'll be putting up videos, vlogs, training highlights, athlete profiles, photo galleries, just you name it,
Getting
right?
technique from all these guys, so it's
There
going to
you
be
go.
so
Techniques,
cool.
yep.
We had a blast last year. Met a lot of people that we've never really had a chance to spend time with. It's going to be a similar case this time, so
We're just trying to do it bigger and better. So
you
guys
won't miss it. It's
yeah.
going to be all over our social channels. So yeah, it's happening.
All right, well, I think that is a perfect place to cap today's episode. So, guys, I'll see you in about 3 weeks or
Yeah.
something.
See you in Worlds.
I'll see you later.
Almost, yeah. We come back, so a couple of weeks, no podcast. But, man, I can't wait now. The next couple of weeks is just a non-stop last-minute sprint right there to the World Championships. Should be a lot of fun, huh?
Let's do it.
Do it, man.
All right, so peace out, guys, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
See you guys.